Good morning. It's September the 12th. It's a Monday, so I always walk along the creek on a Monday. But I decided to come a little further along the creek to start. So I usually sort of turn around right about up here and head back if I walk along the creek this far. But this is the Italian club, I guess. And that's where I parked. I'm going to get up here, get on the dike, and then we'll walk along by the Royal Regina Golf Club. Directly ahead of us is a curling club, Sandra Schmerler Curling Club. Actually met her there once, the late Sandra Schmerler, Olympic curler. Good morning, Mary Lou. Oops, almost stepped in a gopher hole there. And there was another one. I hadn't thought about that walking through this little bit of grass here. There were a couple of them. If I hadn't seen them, I could have stepped in them and twisted my ankle. Okay, now we're back on the bike path proper. Normally when I walk along here, I sort of turn around about there and head back if I've come this far, but the gimbal is acting up again. Not sure what its problem is. See if it settles down, I hope. If it's confused by something I'm doing. Is it not well balanced? No, should be alright. Hate to have to buy another one. These things are expensive. This is the off-leash dog park over here. And there's the actual creek. So I am walking along the creek today. You can see some people with their dogs out over there. So we're right on the edge of town here. The airport is over that way. And it's just prairie out that way. Farmland. About 18 degrees, 16 degrees. Pleasant. It's going to 26 today. Now, I can take the long way around. It takes me all the way up there. Or I can take a shortcut over here. And since this is a fairly long walk, do I want to take the shortcut? No, I'd rather walk along the creek. We'll go on this way. I don't know how I'll come back. I might just repeat myself, like walk in two directions along the creek today, or else I'll go down Dudney and come under the railroad bridge, which I've done before. See how the time's going. So this is the parking lot if you're coming to run your dog in the Kathy Lauritsen Memorial Off-Leash Dog Park. I'm not sure who Kathy Lauritsen was, but this is in honor of her. Two mail trucks. You see a lot of male trucks. You never see any female trucks. Ba-dum-bum. You can see like a radar dome over there in the distance because the airport is over there. Hi, Kirk in Vancouver. So, working wise, well, I've got a book coming out tomorrow from Chautauqua Press, Phases, Poetry Collection. And I was sending out invites today for the launch for another book, Thickwood, at the end of October. Those are all both from Chautauqua Press. I've got to finalize Shapers of Worlds, which I think I can do this week. Today was the deadline for all the authors to get their page proofs back to me, and I've heard back from several, and the ones I haven't, I told them I would assume everything was okay if I didn't hear from them. So, yeah, lots to do still. Plus I have a proofreading job that's due in a couple of days that I got to get on as well. So this is, of course, bike path, so one hopes that the bicyclists who cannot see the pedestrian on the path are slow. You're supposed to dismount. I don't think anybody does going under here. I certainly never did back when I was riding my bike. I don't know if that sign was there when I was riding my bike, though. And here's the creek, obviously. That's what the bridge is for. Kind of an interesting reflection effect there. The green over there. The water is green. Well, it has algae growing on it. So this does add quite a bit. This not taking the shortcut probably adds 5 to 10 minutes to the walk. Yeah, actually that proofreading job has to take priority. I need to get it done. Then I'll do the Shapers of Worlds final edit so I can get it to the printer, so I can get it out to my Kickstarter backers, so I can release it on October 11th, which is the release date, which is just before I go to CanCon in Ottawa, science fiction convention. And then my own book from DAW, The Tangled Stars, comes out in ebook and audiobook on the 15th of October. So, on the 18th. So those two things will straddle the convention I'm at. So that seems to be about as good a timing as you could hope for marketing purposes. I wouldn't go if I weren't able to go on Aeroplan points, and if I didn't have Marriott points so that I don't have to pay for my hotel room there. Wouldn't be worth it otherwise. But since both of those things are paid for, morning, it is, I hope. I'm peeved that they're going to be doing masking, but making people wear masks. It's going to make it a far less pleasant experience. I'll just spend all my time in the bar where you don't have to wear a mask, because that's just one example of why that's such a unnecessary restriction. Look, giant Lego pieces. Cyclists dismount here. I certainly should have all those years ago, because there was an accident here involving me, where somebody came around, two of us on bicycles came around and collided on this corner, and I ended up sort of with my hanging onto that railing, looking at those rocks I could have landed on, and she broke her arm. So this is the Royal Regina Golf Club now coming up. It's about the time I quit riding my bike along here. It's very picturesque though, because everything's green, including the water. Oh, here's somebody actually playing golf up here. I don't know which hole this is. It is a nice looking course. I've never played it, but I don't play much at all. I haven't played this year or last year. I haven't played for years now. Haven't even swung a club now for years. I haven't even been to the driving range. Maybe we'll play more as my wife gets more retired. That won't be for years yet. I pointed out this sign before. This used to be its own little community. So there's a sign here about the historic community of McNabb, now part of Regina, but was once its own community. Gives you a nice look down the fairway there. Oops. This path will take us very close to the RCMP training depot and museum. It's either be where I turn around and come back the same way or decide to loop around. I might just come back the same way today. I never walk in the other direction, so it'll be like a whole different view of things. We'll see. Haven't decided yet. It is still my Monday walk along the creek, though, because there's the creek. I don't know, the gimbal seems to me like it's having trouble. It's like moving in ways I wouldn't expect it to. If I just don't know. So over here you can have houses that have a view out over the golf course. Well, it's a park and then you reach the golf course. Most of the creek, there's parkland on either side, partly for flood control, partly just because it's picturesque. Regina has a lot of green space. As you'll notice if you've walked with me, I'm often walking in the green spaces rather than in the city spaces. Well, they're green this time of year. They'll be white soon enough, with a brief period of yellow before we get there. Some of which you're starting to see in some of the trees already. The yellowing will advance rapidly in the next little while. There's some that are beginning to embrace their inner autumnness already, and leaves falling from that one in proper autumn fashion. The falling leaves drift by my window. Here comes somebody behind me on a bicycle. They actually rang the bell, which is what they're supposed to do. Very nice. So I knew they were there. More golf. You can see the clubhouse in the distance over there. Yeah, leaves coming off of that one. I think it's a poplar. They're usually very early adopters of autumn colors. The elms hang on to green for dear life. Some of them. Yeah, leaves on the ground. Autumn is just around the corner, officially and unofficially. It's kind of already begun. Today's the 12th, so 9 days to the first day of fall. More golf. There's still some flowers hanging on though on this bush up here. We haven't had frost yet. We had a frost advisory, but I don't think there was enough to damage anything, so he didn't warn me he was coming. No bells from him. Empress Park. Yet another thing named after Victoria, like the city itself. Breezy this morning. So the RCMP training depot is down that way, and we will see it better as I carry on along here. I don't get to it unless I make a point of going to it. I don't think I'll do that. That one's coloring up too. So if you're going to the golf club, you go down that road I just crossed. We'll take you to the clubhouse. There's usually a German wine event there that we go to, German Wine Society event. That one's looking very fallish. I don't know if this is still Empress Park, if it's all Empress Park, or if it changes names once you cross the road there. I think it's probably all Empress Park. Creek is still over there. Didn't go anywhere. Been there for thousands of years. But only thousands, because this whole part of the country was under something like a kilometer of ice during the last ice age, so. And that was about 20,000 years ago. That went away. That's real climate change. Some apartments there, and we'll go. I will toil up this hill just to get a better view. Maybe I should go down Dudney, because I don't think I've been in the gardens at the Government House since they would have looked like anything. So if I make a point of going that way, I can walk through the Edwardian Gardens at Government House. Just means there's a long, kind of boring stretch where I walk down Dudney. But this is fun on a bicycle. Hopefully one doesn't come over the top while I'm going up this side. Fairly steep. Football field over there. So this gives you a good view of the golf course and the creek. Sorry, that's not the golf course anymore. In fact, I think this is training area for the RCMP in that field. I think it's part of the RCMP depot. Oh yes, the creek is looking very, very green. Then you have one of the city sports fields. There's a baseball diamond, and then the football field here. And then you can't see it behind the trees, but Luther College High School is over there where my daughter went to high school. We'll walk by it too if I follow my tentative plan here. That's its parking lot over there. It's all downhill from here. All right, back on the path. Straight is the way and narrow is the path that leads to righteousness. Very green. Almost looks like you could walk on it, but I wouldn't try it. Yeah, I think that's training area for the RCMP over there. I've never seen anybody on it, but it seems to clearly be set up for that sort of thing. Optimist Athletic Fields, that's what these are called. Optimist being a service club. Optimists. It's the training depot over there. Every Mountie in Canada trains here. And if they don't wash out, this is where they become Mounties. Plenty wash out. Also the museum, which is a national museum for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. It's kind of directly ahead of us. You can't see it too much. It's very green. Green is the color of my True Creek's top. Maybe Green Sleeves would be a better song. Ask my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously. For I have loved you so long, delighting in your company. Green Creek is all. Maybe not. Picturesque though. How long have I walked to here? 21 minutes. Okay, well, we'll carry on around then. Should put us on duty at about 30 minutes, and it's 30 minutes back to the car, so it works out to about an hour. I know that, having done this walk before. But I should walk that direction sometime, just because, you know, it all looks different when you walk in the other direction. Look at all the rushes. Cattails. Another picturesque view of the creek. Green Creek is all. No, it really doesn't work. Who but my lady Green Creek? See, that part wouldn't work. Who but my watery Green Creek? Now, I could cut off a loop here, going up the alley and wending my way up to Dewdney that way. 23 minutes. No, I'll go on. More picturesque down here than just going up some boring old alley. Grassic Park. Okay, here's where it changes names. Could also go up this road, but I won't. I'll carry on around the corner. Get a little closer to the RCMP depot there. I have seen people playing sports on this field, so I don't think it's part of the depot, for the simple reason that it's on this side of the creek, and all that stuff back there was on the other side of the creek, which provides a natural security barrier. So that's the depot directly ahead of us. That's the museum over there with the pointy roof. There's a good view of the depot, or a somewhat good view of it. The museum, again, is mostly behind the trees no matter where I am along here. But that's it over there. Been a lot of events there. I don't think I've ever toured the museum, not in this incarnation. I remember visiting the old one, which was much smaller and less impressive a long time ago. Okay, we'll go through here to Dudney. So cutting off a bit of a loop, but that just takes you up there, and then you loop along, and you're kind of heading back this way. Let's go this way, because it's different. It doesn't look like a garage, so it must be some sort of parks building. It's got doors open. Oh, it's a washroom in there. I wouldn't use that. You couldn't pay me to go to the washroom in there. Condo building here. Why don't we? All right, we'll go down. We'll go down, Dudney. So we'll get on the sidewalk. This is a pretty new building here. So this is Dudney Avenue. It's like the first main road because it led from the RCMP depot to Government House, past the Territorial Building, which was the first government legislative building when this was capital of the Northwest Territories, which is still there. We'll see it somewhere along here. I always lose track of it because it's so small you don't notice it unless you're looking for it. I've never been in it. Then eventually you get down to the train station, but it's ridiculous that it's all strung out like this, and that all had to do with the politics of the time and land speculation, basically. People were buying land where they thought the railroad would go in order to make a fortune, and the railroad tended to try to thwart those ambitions when it could, and so all of that stuff played into why Dudney Avenue here, straight as an arrow, very, very long, all these important things on it, but they're all strung out. I mean, the train station is a long way down Dudney from here. Well, it's not even on Dudney, but the railroad tracks run alongside Dudney. Further up. South of Dudney. Dudney was an early lieutenant governor. Hello, Saya. Or Saya. Sayi. S-A-Y-A. S-A-Y-I, anyway. Actually, it's a bit hazy. There might be some smoke in the air from forest fires further west. I can't smell it, but there's certainly a haze. It's not here on a really clear day. So I suspect that's what it is. I know there's smoke in BC and all the prevailing winds head this way. When we get it really bad here, it's if there's forest fires in northern Saskatchewan. We've had some really bad years for that, especially up in Saskatoon, which is closer by 250 kilometers to the north. So this is the other side of that baseball diamond I walked by, Optimist Field. I won't walk up to Luther like I have on some walks because school is back in session, so don't want to freak them out. It's a white SUV, but it's not mine. Better not be, since I'm not in it and it's moving. It's not a Volvo. So yes, next up is Luther College High School, where my daughter went to university. Went to high school. No, she's in university now. She went to high school here. She's at the University of Toronto. So I used to come here every day, but it's hard to believe it's been more than 3 years since she graduated, because she's in her 4th year of university. Amazing how the time goes by. In retrospect, when you're living it, it doesn't seem to be zipping by, but whenever you think back on things, it seems like, how could that have been 4 years? It was just like yesterday I was watching her in Honk, the musical, or singing in the choir. But it wasn't yesterday. 3.5 years ago minimum. 4, 5, 6 years ago for some of those things. Or more. Let's not even get started on elementary school. Of course, mostly it feels like yesterday since I was in university, and that definitely wasn't yesterday. This December it'll be 43 years since I graduated from university. Although, I was only 20 when I graduated, so I am still younger than my classmates who graduated the same year by a couple of years in many cases. This is Luther. That's the largest high school gym in Saskatchewan, thanks to the simple gymnasium, thanks to their high-powered alumni. This is the top university prep school, I guess you'd call it, probably in the province, certainly in Regina. So it's very academic focused. Has good extracurricular programs as well, and hosts the very famous Luther Invitational basketball tournament every year. Never wins that tournament. Well, the girls won. First year they had a girls tournament. Luther won its own tournament, but the boys never do, because Luther's only about 400 students, and they invite schools from places like Calgary and Winnipeg and Edmonton, which may have 5 times that many students. Oh, got another greeting from, if I can read it, my eyes don't want to cooperate. Let's move it over here where it's darker. Atul, I guess. Good morning. 96% of Luther grads pursue a post-secondary education, as I was just saying. This is the president's house over here, not just for the high school. Luther College is also, there's also Luther College at the University of Regina, so they're all part of the same very old Lutheran educational program. I've never been in there, but my daughter was a couple of times. My wife's been in there. I've never been in there. He's speeding. Boy, is he speeding. I think he's speeding too, but not as much as the other guy was. Now here I've been in many times. Lutheran Church, Christ Lutheran Church. When I sang in the Prairie Chamber Choir, we rehearsed in there and did our concerts in there. Unfortunately, Prairie Chamber Choir has gone away. However, I'm now singing in, I'm actually going to cut through here and go into the gardens in this direction. I'm now singing with Wascana Voices, which is a small self-directed high-end choir. At our first rehearsal last night. I think I'm going to enjoy it very much. So right through here are the Edwardian Gardens, on the grounds of Government House. This is not an official entrance to it, but it works. So let's see how their flowers are doing. Oh, I guess I've missed the peak again. Lots of green stems and no flowers. Oh, that's unfortunate. All been trimmed. Oh, what's that? Snowshoe hare. Or rabbit. All of those, look, all the blooms have been cut off. I presume that was deliberate and not vandalism. Some sort of gardening thing. So the Edwardian gardens were a series of rooms, was how they were designed, and so that's how this is laid out. I wrote the history book revised the existing history book and expanded of Government House. I guess there was an official path there I could have come along. This is the memorial garden here, Second World War. So it's still got some of its flowers, but yeah, I've missed the peak again, clearly. The Netherlands Liberation Garden. Canada played an important role in the liberation of the Netherlands during the Second World War, and the Netherlands, I think it started with tulip bulbs that they donated to commemorate that. Oh, this one still has flowers left, but not the ones in the middle. Smell nice though. Oh yes, I did just go in a circle. We'll follow the path instead of walking on the grass. We'll go back the way we came here, I think. Or shall I go around this way? I'll go this way. Some different kind of garden over there, the big rock in the middle of it. But again, there's no flowers left anywhere, which disappoints me. I thought there still would be. I should have come here earlier in the year. It's very green still, but the flowers are gone. Except for those few around the Liberation Garden. So that's Government House. At one time, the residence of the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, who, when this was capital of the Northwest Territories, and before representative government in this part of the world, all of what is now the Northwest Territories and Western Canada was ruled, really, in the name of the Queen from this building. Now it's a museum, the old part of the building, and it's also the offices of the Lieutenant Governor are in here. There's a very nice greenhouse there. There's little interpretive things everywhere. The Victory Gardens, these are. So they mark various things. Our unfortunate dabbling in a socialist government in the 40s and 50s. Tommy Douglas, who was the premier, didn't hold with this Government House stuff, and he turned this into basically I think it was a rest home, and then it was just kind of a nothing building where they had classes and stuff. This is where the Lieutenant Governor's offices are in there. But then it was restored, turned into a museum, and that's what it should have been all along. And of course, the flags are at half-mast because of the death of Queen Elizabeth II. One time you would have driven your coach up here to get out when you weren't under the rain. And this is the Queen Elizabeth II wing, which he opened in 2005. So it's all new, which is why it looks different. You're not supposed in modern thinking to make the addition to an old building. There should be no confusion about what's new and what's old. So a lot of events are held in here, and there's offices upstairs. And there's also a little museum and gift shop area in here, but the main part of the house back there is all museum. You see VR on top for Victoria Regina. And it's been restored to what it would have looked like, more or less, when the lieutenant governors lived here. Although all of the original furnishing was pretty much auctioned off because of the aforementioned short-sighted socialist government of Tommy Douglas. Why no, I don't have any use for socialists. Another nice garden out front here. Although again, fading a bit this late in the summer. Okay. How long have I been walking? Well, if I carry on around, I should be back at the car within about an hour of when I started. Now over here, this is a seniors center, seniors care home, quite a large one. And there used to be another one here, but it was torn down and they put in this parking lot, which was sorely needed for events at Government House. There was never enough parking for things that happened at Government House, and now, for most things, there is. This is called Pioneer Village. And of course, when they built it, the senior citizens living in it were literally pioneers. There would have been people living in here who had homesteaded on the prairies in the late 19th century when this opened. These days, of course, your senior citizens are getting to be people who saw the Rolling Stones live. So, again, the march of time is relentless. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Pioneer Village. Ride like an eagle, fly like an eagle, not ride like an eagle, to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. Like an eagle, to be free. Oh. If I were in a vehicle, I would have to turn left there, but I am not in a vehicle. So I can cut through to the alley here. I'm not going to walk up the alley. This is, as you can see, Pioneer Village goes on for quite a ways. We will go over here between the buildings to get onto the street. Rental buildings here, apartments. That's a hotel directly across the street, and then one of the two main hospitals, Pasqua Hospital, is right there. Used to be Grey Nuns Hospital once upon a time. When my mom was in it back in the late 60s, early 70s, it was Pasqua Grey Nuns Hospital. And that hotel is located very well for people who have someone in hospital for a long time and they want to, stay for a couple of weeks maybe while their loved one is in the hospital or whatever. That's not just what it's for, though. Many people stay there for other reasons. In fact, that was the hotel when they did Sask Expo Regina, where I sold books, kind of our Comic Con, a month or so ago. That was the hotel where they put vendors, got a discount if they stayed there, so it was very handy for that. Pioneer Village, Hewitt Place, and much more lodge. They never call one much less lodge. So this is taking us back toward the railroad tracks. You'll recall I walked under them at the beginning. We'll walk under them again along the path that leads from alongside Louvain here. And that'll put us just a short distance from where I left the car. Not that I couldn't walk home from here in about, half an hour. So I could walk all the way over here and do the whole thing on foot if I wanted to go for a 2-hour walk or a 3-hour walk, but I don't usually go that long. About the longest I've done is an hour and a half, I think. So mostly apartment buildings along here. Some newer, some older. If you're moving to Regina, I don't see any for rent signs on any of them though. I don't think these are condos. They might be condos. It's hard to tell. This depends on how the developer decided to make things, how they thought it would work best for them. Then there's some just houses as we go along further toward the railroad tracks. Again, this might have been part of the village of McNabb that I was looking at the sign for over there. Because it's not too far on the other side of all this is the golf course. Yeah, it's a bit, I guess it's 3 or 4 blocks maybe. Probably this wasn't part of McNabb. Oh, here's one for sale. Oh, that one's sold, never mind. It's an interesting location. The street is quiet because all the traffic is just over there on the other side of that berm. So not much traffic on the street, but plenty of traffic. Very handy though for getting to downtown. You just go up here, turn left, around the corner. You can be in downtown in 5 minutes in a car. If I were walking, it'd take me maybe 20. Probably about the same distance from here to downtown as from my house to downtown, maybe a little further. Call it half an hour at the outside. There's some big old trees here, so obviously these houses have been here a long time, most of them. At least the lots have been. Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. It's all you ever saw, in trouble with the law. Since the day they were born. I have no idea why the Dukes of Hazzard theme just came into my head. Making their way, the only way they know how, but it did. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Although my favorite verse was always the one that Waylon Jennings sang at the end of the opening credits. I'm a good old boy, you know my mama loves me, but you don't understand, they keep showing my hands and not my face on TV. Because that's all you saw of him, was his hands on the guitar. I always thought that was funny. And boy, am I dating myself talking about the Dukes of Hazzard. I wonder how it holds up. Probably not well. Had lots of car chases. Can't complain about car chases. Of course, probably nobody's showing it because the General Lee has a Confederate flag on it, and that will make you unpopular with the kind of people who are offended by that sort of thing. There are people who are offended by everything, so even one of my books, somebody said it was problematic. I wish they'd said it louder so that maybe people would have bought it thinking it was more exciting than it was, racier than it was. Sometimes I think I should deliberately be provocative, and I might get more sales, even as I divided my audience. I might pick up the people, whichever side I decided to be provocative on. If you're really cynical, you'd have 2 pseudonyms. One would be raving left-wing lunatic, and one would be a raving right-wing lunatic. And you could craft those personas and sell books to both sides of the aisle with neither one knowing they were buying a book from someone who in another guise was expressing opinions they found abhorrent. That's totally doable. I don't think I'd be comfortable doing it, but I know I could do it if I wanted to. Because I think I can believably portray character on any political position. That's what writers do. They portray people that are nothing like them. That's often misunderstood. So people will read something in a book and they'll get angry at the author for saying it. And authors are forever having to say, that's a character, it's not me. But that character believes that. And to be a good character, he's got to have good reasons for whatever it is he believes. Oh, look. Charming collection of garbage in the middle of the road. More like recycling, actually. Don't know how it ended up there. Probably don't want to know. Of course, as an actor, which I also am, in fact, I'll be auditioning for a Persephone theater play this week, I hope, when they tell me what they want. I have to record it because I can't be here for the live auditions. But if you're an actor, you should be able to portray any kind of character sympathetically, believably. Don't make them a stereotype, don't make them a cartoon. Should be able to play either a saint or a sinner. Fortunately, so many actors get so caught up in their own righteousness of their particular positions that you don't for a minute believe they could portray somebody of the opposite position, sympathetically or believably. That's what acting is supposed to be about, is believably portraying people who are nothing like yourself. And now it's almost like you're not even allowed to play a part that's not like you. So a straight man can't play a gay man. It should be vice versa. All that sort of thing. Anyway, that's a bit of a rant, but I do find it annoying and not my idea of the ideal. Some newer houses here. And a boat. And a bush blocking my path. And a couple of the older houses again. That's very much like the house I lived in on Garnet Street when I first moved to our neighborhood. And it was built in 1914, so if it's the same general pattern, it's not quite, but it might date back as far as that. Oh, there's a cow lurking over there. Okie dokie. I have to cross this street, which I will only do if it's safe to do so, which it appears to be safe to do so. This is 13th Avenue. Parks maintenance building here, then there's a playground coming up. In my somewhat limited acting career, I've played both heroes and villains. I've played a Nazi, I've played kind of a thug and a wannabe murderer, a gangster. I'm none of those things. In fact, one thing I've never played is an aging writer who does live stream walks on YouTube. But if the part ever comes along, I have prepared for it. There comes the Italian club where I left the car, so almost back to where I started. So how long has it been in total? Can I read it? Just under an hour. Oh, let's see if I can read that, Mary Lou. It's too bright. I can't. I'll have to wait till I get more in the shade. If I can find some shade. There's not a lot of trees down this way. Oh, right there's a patch. If I pause there, maybe I can read what she said. It's the Italian club. Perhaps in this patch of shade, I'll be able to see the screen well enough, despite my old eyes. Not so much. I can't read it. I'll try one more patch of shade up here where there's a darker background. See, the trouble is I need reading glasses as well as the bright sunshine, so the two things together can make it very difficult sometimes. Okay, here's deeper shade and a dark background. Maybe I can manage it now. Have I ever worked on a radio program? Oh, yes, actually. I hosted my own radio show and TV show at one point. Just for community channels, but yeah, I can't take any credit for the voice, but thank you. I inherited that. All three of us brothers have the same voice, basically. My mom used to not be sure who was talking to her on the phone. And then my dad was a singer and a choir director and all that sort of thing. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. And tomorrow is, I don't know where that'll be, but I should do another walk tomorrow, so look for that. So bye for now.